After this weekend's round of results in the Championship, Burnley sit inside the automatic promotion places, which raises the question once again, when will Scott Parker get the respect that he deserves? Scott Parker's appointment at Burnley was met with a very mixed reaction, I would say probably bordering on negative, and it's always struck me as strange that a manager with as much success as him in the second division is treated with as much disrespect as he is. And I do think it borders on that because this is a manager who has managed over 100 games in the Championship and has won over half of them. In fact, his win rate stands at 52.5%. He's managed 101 games and won 53 of them. A very impressive tally. But perhaps the most impressive statistic is the fact that in his 2 previous seasons at Championship level, he has won promotion. And as it stands, in his 3rd ever season at the level, he is on course to be promoted once again. There's very few managers across world football that can boast a 100% promotion success rate from the second division. Yet Scott Parker's appointment at Burnley felt like a step backwards for the club, even though their aim and sole ambition is to get back into the Premier League this season. There's very few managers who you could say are better placed to do that than Scott Parker. If we go even further in his stats then, we can see that his sides have scored 152 goals in those 101 games and have conceded just 91, less than a goal conceded per game. And that is something that we see as a consistent theme with Scott Parker's side. Yes, going forwards they're not as free-flowing or high-scoring as perhaps Vincent Kompany's Burnley were, but defensively they are as sound as they come at this level. So far this season, Burnley have the best defence in the Championship, conceding just 4 goals, and that should come as little surprise to anyone who follows Scott Parker's side. They're always quite well organised and hard to break down, and this Burnley team is no different. And his Burnley side this season have conceded just 4 goals in 10 games, an even better rate than his sides have historically done in the Championship. And when you talk of promotions, I think it gets even more impressive when you consider that he's done this with 3 different teams. You look at some of the managers that have won promotion more than once from this division. For example, Steve Bruce, who has got 4 promotions, the most of any manager at this level. 2 of those came with Birmingham City, the same side. It's so difficult to go into a different club each time and win promotion there. In fact, Steve Bruce and Neil Warnock are the joint tied for the most promotions from the second tier with 4 promotions each. But if you look at the span of time they had between those promotions, Warnock's first one was in the 90s with Notts County. And obviously, a lot of them came in the thousands as well, Sheffield United, Cardiff, etc. Steve Bruce, very similar. Birmingham City, Hull, those sides, they are all over a very extended span of time and several seasons at the level. Scott Parker, if it stays as it is at the moment, he's on course to do it. He could be 1 promotion behind them, having managed in the division in just 3 seasons. It's absolutely exceptional, that record. One that most would be envious at the level. And yet, if you talk about great Championship managers or great managers for the second tier, his name won't come into the conversation. But I'm here to argue that, in fact, it should. His record in the Premier League is often brought up as the reason why he gets this respect. And I also think it's slightly irrelevant point when you talk about the Championship. You know, this season, Burnley are focusing on getting back into the Premier League. And Scott Parker should, and I believe will, be able to do that. What happens next season is kind of a moot point at this moment, especially when you consider that I think it's slightly overplayed as well. I mean, for example, take Burnley last season. They went up under Vincent Kompany and ended up coming straight back down. And he's gone on and got the Bayern Munich job. I'm not suggesting that Scott Parker will do the same, not by any stretch of the imagination. You have to look at his time at Club Brugge to understand that perhaps that wouldn't be the best move. But if he got promoted with Burnley next season, they came straight back down, does that make him any less of a manager than Vincent Kompany? In fact, the expectation now is every promoted team is kind of favourite to get relegated straight back. Such is the gap between the Championship and the Premier League. If those expectations are there for all the promoted sides and all the promoted managers, then why is the expectation not the same for Scott Parker? It feels that it's used as a stick to beat him with, oh, he gets teams promoted. Once he's in the Premier League, he doesn't do as well. It's actually very difficult for promoted sides to do well in the Premier League anyway. So he's actually doing a very difficult job. And yes, his Bournemouth side and his Fulham side didn't kick on under his management. Sides that go up from the Championship to the Premier League tend to struggle. And so the fact that Scott Parker's sides have also struggled shouldn't really come as much surprise. And I don't think they should really detract from his reputation as a Championship manager. There's 2 different things, winning the Championship and staying up in the Premier League. And in terms of going up from the Championship, I don't think there's many better than Scott Parker. Another thing that he's kind of used as a criticism of him is his style, and I will completely accept that it's perhaps not the most exciting style in the Championship. There are other managers who I would prefer to watch their teams play. I'm not going to pretend to be an avid lover of Scott Parker's football. He's got quite a pragmatic sense about football, and Fulham fans and Bournemouth fans probably feel like he kind of sapped the individualism out of some of the players towards the end. It was more about structure than letting the individual players and talents flourish. And of course, he has had very good sides. This Burnley team, the Bournemouth team, the Fulham team, they all had very good squads for the Championship. So you can definitely admit and accept that his style could be better with those teams. But in terms of delivering results, if a board wants a team promoted into the Premier League, then Scott Parker is the ideal man for that. Will it be the prettiest? Perhaps not, but it will be extremely effective. And it kind of depends what you weigh up, whether it's performances or results. And if you want a quick fix to get back into the top flight, then Scott Parker is surely the man to do that. Some further stats to back that up. Since 04-05, just 2 managers have a better points per game record than Scott Parker. And those 2 managers are Daniel Farke, who's the current Leeds manager, and Marcelo Bielsa, who of course only managed Leeds in the Championship. So of managers that have managed more than one club, it's only Daniel Farke. And that is putting him above the likes of Steve Coppell, who broke the points record. Scott Parker's points per game record is seriously impressive. And Parker's story also reminds me of an article that I read quite a few years ago now on These Football Times. It's a great article. It was about Vitor Oliveira, who unfortunately after this article has now passed away, but he was a Portuguese manager who was a specialist in promotion in the 2nd division. In fact, he had won 5 promotions from the 2nd division in a row at the time of this article being written. That took his total of promotions to 10, and actually subsequently after the article he then went back to 2nd division and won promotion on another occasion, taking his total to 11 and 6 title wins in the 2nd tier as well. Just an incredible record, and kind of some parallels I guess drawn between them. I'm not saying that Scott Parker will ever reach 10 or 11 promotions from the Championship. That would be absolutely absurd. But there are managers out there who thrive on winning promotion in the 2nd tier. Vitor Oliveira is clearly one of them. And I think Scott Parker is perhaps the English version of Vitor Oliveira. He is a manager who is a specialist in promotion at the Championship level. If he gets promotion this season, he will continue his 100% promotion record from the Championship. He will have done it with 3 different clubs. Do you have to be the biggest Scott Parker fan to admire his work? No. Do you have to love his style? No. But I think you have to give him respect, and I think it'll be undeniable if he gets promotion with Burnley. Detractors will say, yes, he's had the squads and the sides set up to do that, but it's a different thing having a team that's there and actually delivering on that. How many times and how many sides have we seen that have a great team but don't live up to those expectations, yet Scott Parker is consistently able to deliver on those? That's the video then, guys, wrapping up on Scott Parker, why I believe he deserves more respect. Hopefully you'll be able to see a video I'm involved in very soon, diving into his tactics and how he's been able to deliver that success as a Championship manager. But today I just wanted to talk about some of the reasons why I feel he deserves more respect, because I do think consistently there's almost a jovial manner in which Scott Parker is regarded, especially when he was appointed at Burnley. People kind of scoffed at it and thought, why they appointed him? They were linked with the likes of Ruben Nistelrooy. They just had Vincent Kompany. Scott Parker isn't perhaps in the same echelon in terms of those names, in terms of name appeal, but I think in terms of success at this level, his appointment should not have been overlooked and disregarded. And there's a reason why I backed Burnley for promotion before the season started, and that reason is Scott Parker, and I want to talk about some of those reasons today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, a more discussional type video. If you could like, comment and subscribe, it would be absolutely amazing. We're on the road to 300 subscribers, which is an absolutely mind-blowing figure to me this early on. The support has been absolutely amazing, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.